We have an awesome science type activity for this week's craft, and I think you guys are really going to like it. We are making our very own geodes out of borax. A geode is a rock that when you crack it open, it has crystals and different mineral formations inside of it. And in the last year or so, it's become really popular to crack open geodes. There are all sorts of videos on the internet about it, and it seems like a lot of fun. But today, we are going to create our own geodes out of seashells. There are quite a few steps to this activity, so I printed you out some instructions this week. Borax, right here, this little powder, is just like a type of laundry detergent. You're also going to need your glue, this gold paint with a number 2 on it, and this little container of shells. You'll also need some sort of container that you can pour boiling water into. I recommend a mason jar because then you can see what's happening. We are using seashells for our craft, but you could also use cleaned out eggshells or anything else to make the casing for your geode. I just thought it'd be really cool to use seashells this time. And to get started, if you happen to have any extra paint laying around or maybe a permanent marker, you can experiment with painting the inside of your shell a different color. The inside of your shell being a different color will change the color that your geode is when it grows. So I decided with a little bit of extra pink paint I had on hand, I would paint the inside of one shell pink. Now you need to paint some glue on the inside of all of your shells, whether they're painted or not. You can grab a Q-tip to do this, or use your finger. Just make sure you have a lot of glue on there and it's covered everywhere inside. We want to do this step first and make sure we have lots of glue on the inside of our shells because this is going to hold the borax powder inside of our shells and make sure our geodes grow in the right places. So add that glue to the inside of every single shell, and then we can start sprinkling borax into each one of the shells. Now, to keep the mess down a little bit and make sure we don't waste any of our borax, we're going to put each shell into that empty container we have left over. The shells came in this empty container, and we're going to sprinkle some borax inside. Like I said, make sure you cover the whole inside of the shell. You don't want to miss any spots. We want our geodes to grow really thick and coat the entire inside. After the borax powder is glued inside our shells, we are moving on to the boiling water stage. If you aren't usually allowed to use boiling water by yourself, please ask a parent to help you with this stage. We need to take half a cup of boiling water and pour it into our glass container. And then we're going to grab a tablespoon and put 2 tablespoons of our borax powder into the half a cup of water. You'll still have some borax left over, so if you want to do this experiment again, or if you want to add a little more water into your container, you will be able to do that. Now stir your water and borax around until everything is dissolved. You shouldn't see any borax crystals at the bottom, and your water should look a bit cloudy. Set your shells onto your spoon and lower them slowly and carefully into the water with the borax crystal and glue side facing up. Make sure none of them are stacked on top of each other unless you want them to grow together and become a double shell geode. Now that all of your shells are in the water, we'll put something on top to cover it and set it to the side for a day or so. The longer you leave your geodes, the bigger they're going to grow. This is what mine looked like after just a day. They get a bit stuck to the bottom of your container, but don't worry, just use a spoon to pick them up off the bottom and then dry them off with a towel or a napkin. I was in the kitchen, so the lighting wasn't great, but you can see that my geodes have grown. Now this is an optional last step. If you'd like, you can paint the plain side of your shell with this gold paint. I think it makes it look like a sunken treasure or something like that, like some mermaid treasure that was found at the bottom of the ocean. This is what mine looked like in the sun. My geode crystals have grown nice and thick, and everything is sparkly and so pretty in the sun. I had a lot of fun doing this experiment and craft, and I hope you guys do too. See you next week, guys!